Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Intrepid Investor Podcast. Today, we are joined by a dear friend of mine. I have only known him for a couple of months, and honestly, he's one of the most genuine people that I know. He speaks from the heart like a true Italiano that he is. It's Bruno Falcone, celebrity tailor based in Brisbane. Hey, Bruno, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, Vanessa? Thank you so much. Your words are too kind for me. Your words are too kind.
I speak the truth, Bruno. Honestly, every time we all get together, it's always a fun time, and you have a lot of experience and knowledge with so many different parts of like business and everything. And I just want to share it with everyone.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that. There's a little bit of Italianness, a little bit of something I always love to spend it together.
Yeah. So obviously, this podcast, we like to speak a bit about real estate and your investments and just share things that you've learned, because there's a lot of people out there that are trying to get into investing in property. And there's some people that have no idea, or some people that want to grow their portfolio. So just give us like a bit of background on that.
On my journey.
On your journey, yeah.
Yeah, of course. My first property purchase was an occupier. So it was the first unit that I purchased with my wife. A little castle, like it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. And I always was married and very happy to the inner city lifestyle. So as a person, I wouldn't have been happy living too far away from the cities. I guess that whenever we purchased that unit, we were faced to what we could afford and where we could buy it. A lot of people, they always have to face those two dilemmas, right? Like it's talking about the location and talking about, the size.
Because how far is Toowong from Brisbane city centre?
It's within 5K. So
oh, wow. Okay.
You could walk to the city.
So that was very important to you because of the nightlife and things like that? Was that your work, or what was it?
Yeah, I think all of the above. I was really happy, like going to the city or inner city, like for lifestyle, restaurants and to the movies or theater, or even just the walk, like on South Bank or something fun to do.
Always, something on in the city.
Yeah, a lot of people, they think of it as a special treat once every 3 months or something, and I wanted it to do it anytime.
Yeah, definitely.
The amount of I can't tell you the amount of picnics I had in my 20s in South Bank, like it's gorgeous, right? So that was one, like I wanted to be around the city for that reason, and also I was working in the CBD, so I still remember I used to bike to work.
Yeah, that's the best. But why did you feel like you had to buy the first property? Was that just a mentality that you just had, or had you thought about the numbers versus rent?
Look, I think at the time, yes, actually like that was a very good, that's a very good point. At the time, we were spending a certain amount per week. I think by memory, these are 15 years ago prices. So I think we were spending something along the lines of $430 per week for a 2-bedroom unit in the same area.
10 years ago.
Yeah. So then I think by purchasing, I think we were spending about maybe 470 or 460. It was like very close. So like it was a little extra per week, but it was close enough for us to choose to buy.
Yeah.
But then we were faced with, those were the mortgage repayments, and we didn't know all of the other costs involved with owning a property, like all of your rates, your water, like all of the extra things. Like we were, for a while there, we were like a little bit stretched, like a little bit above what we wanted to rent for. We wanted to pay for
weekly expenses. Yeah. I think that's something that a lot of people don't think about when they buy the property, because when you rent, everything's covered in that one cost.
That's it.
But if you have, say, even like a unit, sometimes you might have strata as well. You have council fees, you have water fee, all of that, and your normal like weekly groceries and all that. So
I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's not a lot of educations about what it means to own a property versus renting a property. And because of that experience, like on my own skin, then I personally started looking into it. Like I started reading books about it, about real estate. I was starting to, like podcasts, YouTube, like all of the education that it was available to me, I would consume it to just to get an understanding around it. And that's when that's when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad by Kiyosaki. And that was like such eye opener, both in business and in the personal investments part of it.
100%. Yeah, my main takeaway from that was definitely the whole thing about your home not being an asset, actually being a liability. And from what you said, like we had a bit of a chat earlier, was that what clicked for you as well?
Yeah, I think I just couldn't believe it. And I was reading it, and I think I had to read it like twice around to get an understanding
Yeah.
of what it meant. And then, but once you understand it, once it clicks, it just makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It really does.
I think you obviously were brought up in Italy, but I'm guessing the mindset's similar because like my background's Greek, and then my grandparents and stuff, they obviously instilled their things into my parents, and it was all about you have to own your own home. Like you can't live in someone else's home. That's just not what you do. And so is that sort of what happened with you as well?
I think there's that, and there's also debt is evil.
Yes.
There's that you shouldn't have debt. It's something like people are tremendously afraid of. And I must say, I am the first one in my family to own multiple properties. Like all of my family, they just had the one property, their own home. And and it's one of those things that I think until when you read into it, until when you get yourself informed, you cannot go to the next level. And I think even myself, right now, I'm on a stage where I probably would need a professional to help me go to the next level of property ownership, because like my everyday is styling. I'm a tailor. Like I look after like the people, make them feel like more confident. I make them feel good, but I'm not an expert in real estate. Like I'm an enthusiast, but then I honestly believe that there are professionals out there that the right people to advise you on what to do next.
No, exactly. Because so I actually I don't know if you remember Alana. We met her at one of the meetings that we were at, and she had 4 properties within 15 months, like incredible. She bought them. And it was just about her having the right mortgage broker. And that's the thing. Yeah, having the right people on your team, speaking with the right people. Because right now, how many investment properties do you have?
Got 3.
Okay, so you have 3.
The 3 has been over the course of the 15 years. So I think at the year 7 of the first property, we grew enough capital within the first property to purchase a second one. And then the third one was probably like shortly after, maybe like another 2 years after that one, we were able to leverage the 2 properties to purchase the third one. No cash involved. Like we just used the leverage. Yeah.
Julie, yeah. And so now you're at a point, you've maxed out your capital. There's not much growth happening and you don't know how to get your next step or?
Oh, no. So that was maybe 3 years ago. So now there's about $500,000 to be invested in the next property.
Okay.
When I talked about professionals, I meant that so far, like all of the properties that I purchased were based on my own knowledge of what I knew about the market, especially in Brisbane specifically. The next property that I'll purchase 100% with a buyer's agent, because buyer's agents, they will look at numbers in a different way. So they won't be attached to the area where it is. They will literally just speak about what is the growth or what is the return that you want involved, and they'll make that decision based on numbers alone. And I think, and I just don't have time to do that myself. They do that every day, and I will trust that they will help me out with something like that.
Yeah. If you find like an investor, because if you don't even know which area you want to start in, you just get an investor buyer's agent, and they usually look at all around Australia, because Brisbane probably doesn't have the right growth that you want right now. You'd have to go maybe a bit more regional, and then it's doing that yourself. Yeah, that's impossible with how busy you are with the business.
There's beautiful markets like Perth. Perth is another big one. There's a lot of opportunity there. Toowoomba, like close to Brisbane, like that's another one it's regional, but then you need to look at the various like government like involved
infrastructure projects, yeah,
like trains and transport and what they're gonna do with that area. So
100%. Toowoomba is definitely something that we're looking at as well. It's got, the Inland Rail project is going into there. There's a new hospital. Like, you have to look at places that have a lot of economic diversity. So like Gold Coast, yes, we are getting there, but at the same time, I feel like we've already peaked.
Yeah.
And
what was your journey? Because obviously you guys are doing well, and but you're having a very interesting concept, which is rent investing, and we were talking about it before. So what is your journey? Because you're doing something that a lot of people would think that is odd.
Yes. Yeah, no, definitely. So rentvesting we didn't even know it was called rentvesting. We just found it logical to us that we use the money that we can borrow to put into an investment property that is positively geared to make some additional income. That was our strategy. And because also we want to live next to the beach, like we live literally a 2-minute walk from the beach. We can see it from our balcony. That's the lifestyle we want. So for us to buy an apartment that's like a 1-bedroom even in Broadbeach that has that view, that has that quality, you're not looking at anything less than like 700,000 these days from what I've seen, from the ones that we're looking at. Then we're like, okay, so basically we spend that much money and then our monthly repayments are going to be almost double what we pay now in rent. When are we ever going to be able to save for that next property, let alone have enough equity to buy the next one? It didn't make sense to us. The numbers just didn't add up. So we were told actually one day, oh, you guys are rentvestors. And we were like, oh, okay, is that what it's called? But yeah, so for us, it's just all about renting in a place that we want, a place that's reasonably, obviously, we're not going $1,000 a week for a rental property. You still have to have that under wraps. And then just choosing investment properties based on where there is capital growth. So similar to what you were saying, we're looking at Toowoomba. So we had land in Logan and we've got an Airbnb in Surfers. So at the moment, we're trying different strategies just to see which one works best for us for that additional income. So that's ours. So you were saying also you're renting now. So that first property that you bought is now one of your investments. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. At the moment, I am literally on that same wavelength. Like we are renting where we know we belong, where we know that our life is. For any Brisbane listeners, we are in Paddington. From the porch, I can see the city, and it's so inspiring. For me, like I told you at the start, I have this almost emotional attachment to being within the CBD and feeling like I'm living in the city. And Paddington is one of those with those historical suburbs where you have it all. You have the suburb feeling because you have people like kids and dogs walking around, and then in some cafes, but then you are literally 2 minutes drive to the CBD.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah, and that's why we are renting where we want to live, and then the properties that we have, like we just keep them. And honestly, I don't even look at them. They're literally on the
they're on the back burner. They just
back burner. We honestly I think last year we had it tough. Last year was like a big one because of the rise of the interest rates. So that was like an extremely tough year. But then all we knew it was about making sure that the rentals will pay the most out of the repayments, and we were negatively gearing across the 3 properties. So like one was positive, one was negative, was in the middle. But I think that's was most misunderstood last year. Like it was this feeling from the rental market and the owners market where the rental people were just like discontent with the owners because they raised the prices of the rents. Rent. But to be honest with you, a lot of these people, they just identify the owners with some rich cats sitting on the beach in some beautiful country, when the reality is that I'm a family man. I was looking after my family, my 2 children, my wife, and at some point I was like, we just have to organize the rental in a way that we don't lose too much.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even about paying, like getting to that same level. It was like, okay, within reason, what can we do? What are the rental levels across on a comparable property? And it was really more about, let's get to the same level in the market versus, I'm going to try and do as high as I can. It was more of a, let's get across the rental levels.
So it was below the average rental level for that market. Is that how you had it? You hadn't increased it enough over the years?
Yeah, that's right. And exactly because they were on the back burner. So for me, it was like, okay, as long as they pay themselves, it wasn't of, I'm going to get the most capital out of it. It was more like, we have this one and let's try to get through our journey on property investing. And all you need to do is not lose money. That's it. So I think across the 3 properties, there was a small loss. Like it was probably like, I don't know, I think out of memory it was like $3,000. But for the year.
Yeah. Is that, for 3 properties, that's not too bad.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, No, I think you're definitely onto that there, because you're not paying someone else's rent. You don't have your property to subsidize someone else's rent. That is not what you're doing. And I understand that in some areas, like rent prices can be high. And it is a struggle for some people. But at the end of the day, we're all just doing what we can for our own families and our own needs. And the fact that you can afford 3 properties hasn't just come out of nowhere. You didn't win the jackpot. You worked hard for them.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most important things. That, like I said, it's understanding the property owners in the market. They are really there because they worked hard to get to where they are. And in property, like in business, a lot of the times there's a lot of people that always judge you on your successes. So they will see you're successful, you're doing great, but they don't see the tremendous sacrifices, the tremendous amount of energy that pushed you through your limits to get where you are. Yeah. They don't see any person that I talk to, unless they're in it themselves. Like most times, there's a lot of like, I know what you're doing right now, but I don't see all the hopes that you had to jump through to get where you are. And I think it's important to know that I think things don't happen to you like you create your own luck. You're not lucky. You create your own luck. Even yourself, have you guys experienced any toughness, I guess, last year? Or because of you were doing Airbnb, was it a little bit of better sale?
Yeah, so the Airbnb property has actually been positively geared pretty much the whole time. Like we've only had it for 9 months. So it's been covering our mortgage, and especially we got it in September. So peak in Gold Coast is basically between September and April. So that worked out really good for us. The issue was that we didn't really know how high we could push the margins. So I think that's something that we've learned, that over the next summer, we can definitely ask for a lot more. We weren't asking for enough. People were really snapping up the properties fast, because then that will set you up for the winter time. So now in this like winter time, we're finding that it's not as busy, but we still have every weekend booked out, and it's about charging maybe a little bit less. So Airbnb is a bit different with that, where you can change the charging, and that's what can help if your property is in a touristic area.
Yeah.
Instead of putting it up for rent where it's like a flat rate, it's actually sometimes more beneficial to use Airbnb. But again, with us, we clean. We manage it. If you don't want to do that, then that's not for you. But so that was that. In terms of the land, was a bit of an issue, because when interest rates went up, we were having commercial people on the land at the time. So it was being commercially rented out. And then when the interest rates went up, the commercial agreement was just like a flat, like, until we leave, this is how much you're getting. So that one was a bit of a struggle. We had to start paying on that a little bit, but then we realized it just wasn't for us and we ended up selling it. So we got a profit, which was good, but it's just a lesson learned. And I think that's part of it. And I think people just need to get in it and just learn the lesson, because you're not going to lose if you don't try. You have to put yourself out there a little bit, and there's not a lot that you can lose in property. I don't think so anyway. I don't know. What are your views on that?
I think that there is definitely, with both of us, like we're fairly green. I know that I've been in the industry, in the real estate investment for now 15 years.
Yeah.
But I can tell, obviously, like I went through the 2008. I was at 25 at the time. So I could see that there's definitely moments in the market where everything goes, and you can definitely 100% lose a lot just by owning the properties. So I definitely believe that you can lose a lot, but there's definitely understanding also your own limitation and what you can afford and what you cannot afford. So for example, like I'll give you like a very specific example where, so if you can't afford, let's say $800, $900 rent per week, but you want to, what's it called? But you want to own the property. To find a property within that same range, it will be a lot. It just doesn't match with the lifestyle. So I think I'm just getting it too confused. Let me see if I can explain it. So let's say that you do want to rent a beautiful property and it's on that $900 mark. To own that property and repay the repayments will be almost double. It will be almost like $1,500, $1,600, $1,700 a week. But then there's a lot of people that are going for what they want versus what they can afford.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of there's this mindset out there where they want the dream home, like the beautiful property, the picket fence, the garden, the pool, like the 2 levels, the multiple bathrooms, that they want it all, right? And then the reality is that when I was in that same position, I bought a 2-bedroom unit with 1 bathroom that was like livable, and then I needed to renovate it, and I renovated it slowly throughout the years. So I think it's very cultural. I think there's a little bit of a culture shock right now where there's not an understanding of, listen, like you should buy and get in the market as soon as you can.
Yeah.
You can afford. No, and it won't have to be necessarily what you want, but that shouldn't be it. It should be taken more as a journey and not just a first and last stop. It should be more of I'm going to buy this one, and then because that's what's going to get me in the market. And then in a few years, and if you go through the strategy that you're doing, that you're reinvesting, meaning that you're buying a property, you rent it out to some other family or Airbnb, and you rent and you keep on living your lifestyle. So then that property gets paid for, and then throughout the years, you can count on capital growth, meaning that eventually you'll get a little bit of growth there that will allow you to buy the next one, or will allow you to sell this one and buy the property that you're dreaming of. So it's more understanding that it's in steps versus I'm going to try and buy it and live there for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I think it definitely makes a difference if you're planning, to be owner, occupier, or investor. Obviously, as an investor, like you said, get a buyer's agent, get the professional. They will run all the different stats to make sure that you will most likely get a really good return and that you're covered from some things in the market that may change. Obviously, like 2008, COVID, these are totally out of the world sort of things. We can't cater for that. But when there's, as an owner occupier, obviously then you have that emotional attachment, and that's when it can go wrong. And I think also understanding that what your bank says you can have doesn't mean it's good for you. Like you need to run your own numbers. Yeah, don't listen to the bank.
Honestly, like that's a job. Like the job is to sell you the most amount of money.
Yeah.
And the interest rates raises a little bit and you're cooked. What you do? If you overextend whenever you purchase your first property, that's when problems come up. The very basic tips to any person out there coming from experience, I would say, do not overextend yourself in your first property. So purchase something that will allow you to have a repayment plus cost of living, so meaning the rates and anything else, that needs to equal what you're paying right now for rent. Moving in. Number two, don't get caught up too much on the government schemes. So you're gonna get like the 15,000, 5,000, whatever it
Those
is,
homeowners, all of that.
to
Yeah.
let you buy it. Then that will limit so much what you can afford and what you can buy. I would say if you can make do with them, sure, go for it, but then don't limit yourself. So if there's a number that you can afford, just look in the market on what you can afford and just get in.
Yeah.
And then number three, like right after, it is get in no matter what. So instead of waiting and for the perfect place, I know personally a few people that have been talking to me about it. Yeah, I should get this, I should get that. It's more once you decide if you want to get into the market and you're taking a decision, just get in the market and then to what you can afford. And then in the next few years, then you can go through your journey or property owner and possibly purchase what you want to buy.
100%. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Just get in there, do the research or get someone that can do it for you. And just the sooner you get started, the better.
Yeah. And then number four, I would say the last tip is that I've been personally burned with. It is know your costs. Know what it costs to own a property. Don't think that the loan repayment is your rent, because that is not it. On average, I can tell you for a small block of unit, or for like a house within like a small, like a villa or something like that, you can expect on average about $100 per week on top of your loan repayment. Yeah. On average. Sometimes it could be a little less, sometimes it could be a little bit more. But when budgeting, and especially if you're extending yourself, that $100 per week, it will make the difference. So like you need to budget it within the cost. And then if you rent it out, with a real estate agency,
property management fees,
there'll be like a 6%, 7%, whatever it is on fees. So I think
add a little bit into like maintenance as well, because sometimes, you have to pay for your renters' maintenance issues that they may have. There's all these things to consider.
So I think not to make it too difficult, not to discourage anybody, but you just have to know what's involved. And if you don't know, all you need to do is talk to somebody that has the property, somebody that can mentor you, can give you like all of the tips and all of the real truth. And like that, I act in life and in business. So myself as well, my journey in business, it is a beautiful journey. It is a tough journey. But then at the same time, I do put myself in the hand of mentors. I do ask the next step, what I should be doing, what I can do, because it's always good to speak and bounce off ideas of somebody that has been there before and has done it before.
100%. And definitely don't take advice from people that haven't done it, because if they haven't done it, they don't know. Yeah. Like they can assume, they can read all the books they want, but if they haven't done it, they just don't know. Yeah. So that's great. Love that with the property.
Was it good?
This is great. Tell me though, quickly, just a little bit about your business, because everyone needs to know about your celebrity Tailor company.
You're too good. You're too good. You have to tell it. You have to tell it.
The Bruno Falcone. Did I nail it?
You sure did. You sure did. Whatever you want to know.
How is this? Because obviously in the last 2 months that I've met you, I didn't know you before then. I don't know how your business was going before then, but it just feels like to me that this has been a big boom. Is that
everywhere?
Yeah. And across the world, like you're not just a celebrity tailor, but an international celebrity tailor. Like
Yeah.
it's just incredible.
No, I'm so grateful. I'm really excited. My energy is really like up here. They again, like right now, there's this beautiful wave, this beautiful. A lot of people are putting a lot of trust in me, and you have beautiful people that have done so good for humanity, for people all around the world, and it's such an honor for me to deal with it with these people. So this James Keys, for example, is on a journey, is on a path to really eradicate poverty and really help everyone around the world with knowledge with his book. There is like Mark Boris, for example, is another one that is putting everything on the line to like really give like the most solid advice on the economy in Australia. And then there's the people like like JT Fox, like he's helping. I can see it, like I can see it in person. I see the results with all of these entrepreneurs around Australia, and it's so incredible for me to share my gift to people like that. There's Joseph Clendon III. Just last year, I have seen him in person at the live event in Sydney. I was a few rows behind from him on this stage, and there was 9,000 people in that room in the stadium in Sydney. It was so incredible for me. It's almost like I'm living my dream. I see my idols, and then I get to talk to them, and I get to spend time with them. So it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Like it's a great moment for a House of Falcone, for myself as well. And the thing about it that just I mentioned before, it is that though, is that people don't know that on year one, I was making coffee like between 5 a.m. and 11 a.m., having a shower, and then get into my Falcone suits.
Yeah.
People don't know that I spent nights like putting through the orders like after hours because I was busy being a father like during the daytime. So people don't know like all those efforts and those tears, that sweat that went into it. But it is a beautiful moment to be in today, and I'm very grateful. And even yourself, like just the fact that we met together and we had a real solid, a real connection, and is incredible. Yourself and your beautiful husband, and so incredible even for me to see all of the successes that you guys are having, and I can see the behind the scenes. I can see the amount of efforts that you guys are putting through, and the amount of that effort, that energy, but you believe in it. You want to help people. You want to support everyone out there. Isn't that your why? Why do you do what you do?
100%. Like this podcast, for instance, it's purely to have people like yourself and other people that are at a level in their investment journeys that they can provide information to help others. And I'm learning so much myself. Like I'm no expert. I want to be, and I will be, and that's what my goal is. But at this stage, to get all that information and have these connections, it's just, I think that is a lot of what I'm learning in business. It's relationships. In real estate, it's relationships. Like, and the amount that I have learned in the past, like 2 months, being with JT and meeting yourself and even like Caroline Stanbury and Sergio, and that has just made me, I feel like I'm already on that next level of learning and pushing and being more motivated to get to there. And it's my why is about helping and getting people into the real estate market, only because I truly believe that it is a great space to be, to get that additional income that everyone wants. Everyone wants financial freedom. And you can see every millionaire, every billionaire, yes, they do have their own businesses, but at the end of the day, they all have properties.
It's a great medium. Whenever you have a business and you have a successful business, the moment that you reinvest the earnings into your life, a good strategy, it is real estate, because it's the one that most people know, most people understand, most people know. They understand the bricks and the wood, and they can see the values there. And obviously there's so many other strategies, but it's always good to have some sort of strategy instead of
Yeah.
not knowing what to do. And then just touching on the why, like I can tell that you're making so much impact on a lot of the people that we see together out there. I can see it. I can see that Vanessa is doing such a massive impact. And all of that is because of your passion. All of that is because of your wanting to help. So I am very grateful even just to speak to you right now. It is
Likewise, Bruno. I always enjoy our chats.
was such an inspiration. And then for me, for example, like my wife, it really relates to you because for me, like at the very end, it is about helping. It is about helping because I honestly I feel so much for all of the men and women that I touch and I look after, because I'm trying to get that sense and that feeling of empowerment and strength and confidence. And I know because I went through it myself. I went through it when I was like a teenager and people will make fun of me, or I wasn't the man that I am today. But I also, the moment that I slipped into my first suit, like when I was like a teenager, I just had that energy, that sense of confidence. And literally what I do is giving that same confidence to every person that come and see me.
I love it so much. And that, confidence. Like you're not just selling a product, you're not selling the suit, you are selling confidence. That's what you're selling. And with you, though, it's not just it's you. It's you being there, the way that you are with your clients, the way that you even measure them up and you make them feel so comfortable, but you also make them feel so special. And I think that's a huge part of the House of Falcone brand.
I think so. I think that is a lot to do with my Italian heritage. I feel like whenever somebody says, "Oh, how do you define your Italianness?" There's not a definition, but it's a feeling. It's a feeling of being welcome, being accepted. It's a feeling of being yourself, and it's okay to be yourself. Whenever somebody asks me about, are you trying to make you look different or appear differently? That's really not the case. Like by putting that suit on, you just enhance everything that's already inside of you. Yeah. So it's one of those things that I cannot give you confidence. You already have it inside, but obviously by looking and feeling your best, like it's really that feel that changes everything. Whenever I see it every day, whenever the men and women that put on that suit and they look at themselves in the mirror for the first time, I have like goosebumps. Like these people, like they look at themselves with love.
Yeah.
And the love is what's missing out of their life.
Self-love. Yeah.
All love. So the moment that you're going through that journey, and for me, like I said, it's helping them being able to love themselves.
100%. Yeah. There's actually, it's a theory. It's a psychological theory. I forgot what it's called, but I'll look it up. And it's about, putting on like the Superman suit. Like they actually did a test where they put these kids, I think it was, and they put half of them in Superman suits and half of them were wearing their regular clothes. And they did a certain exercise with their regular clothes. And then the ones that changed into the Superman suit did the exercise even better.
Wow.
And that's literally all they changed. Like they didn't change anything else, but for that moment, they were Superman. And so it's the same with your suit. For that moment, you may not be confident in your life normally, or you may not have that self-love normally, but this will give you that little boost. So it's amazing. I love it.
So I think every time that we've seen each other, you look absolutely gorgeous, like absolutely beautiful. And I think you tell me, did that make you feel more confident whenever you are networking? Or did that make you feel more in control whenever entering a room of people that you don't know? You tell me.
Yeah, 100%. It gives me confidence. If I'm wearing my heels and like a suit, I'm like, today I'm like Tower Vanessa. Like I've got this, especially when I put on that red suit, I was like, yes.
That's right. That
That
was
one, like I
great.
needed that. I was going on stage. I was speaking to Caroline. It can be really intimidating speaking to like celebrities and people that are so successful. And so, yeah, for me, it definitely does. If I was to enter the same room in a tracksuit, I don't think I would have that same confidence. And I would probably would sit in the back corner and I wouldn't really want to talk to people because also when you put yourself in a room of like such successful entrepreneurs and everything, you really want to elevate yourself as well. And I think clothing can do that in a way that just mindset takes a longer time to do.
I think the extra thing that you might not know is because you're so young, you're very pretty. So sometimes just your looks might give the wrong impression to people within the business community. So sometimes like youth and beauty, it translates into maybe not as much experience
Yeah.
or not as much authority in the room. But the moment that you dress the way you do, and the moment that you slip on that suit or you wear the things that make you feel the most confident, it is a cheat code. It's an absolute cheat code. You go from an inexperienced, pretty to powerful, authoritative, empowered, confident.
Yeah. And people want to talk to you. Like I had at the event so many people coming up and just speaking to me. And I'm like, if I wasn't wearing this suit being so like standing out, obviously it's bright red, would they have cards me? I don't think so. So no, I 100% agree. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Love it. I love it. I feel like I've taken so much of your time.
Awesome. Thank you.
I've loved every minute of this, but I do have one final little question. I just want to ask, as I do with all of our guests, what is one way you invest in yourself every day? I'm not talking about for the business, I'm not talking about for your children. Like, how does Bruno Falcone invest in himself?
That's a big one. That's a great one. That's a great one. To be honest with you, it is the way I feel is the way I feed my mind every day. I think in my 20s and early 30s, I was going through and you have like your social media, you flick through. And now there's a lot of self-discovery. So if it's a quiet moment in the day, I don't scroll. I don't go and try to make myself busy. If there's a quiet moment, I take it for myself and I'd rather be quiet and exploring what's inside of me. There's the moments that I'm driving, for example, and I would say I will listen to something that I know will add value to either my life or my business. So yeah, I think it's a very boring response, but
No, it's not.
in my 40s, I would love to be like pumping to Taylor Swift or whatever in the car, but what it is true. Like I really do listen to anything that I know that will add value to my life and my business. And yeah, I really enjoy the quiet moments that I have for myself. Also, that is the way that I recharge. Like I'm an extrovert, but they call it extrovert introvert or introvert extrovert. I don't know.
Yeah, tell me.
It's basically when you're in public, you have a lot of energy, and a lot of people take your energy. And then to recharge, I need to be like quiet.
I definitely feel that. Like after those weekend events that we do. And then it's like after that full day, and I love it, meeting people, talking to everyone, I'm real excited. And I go home and I'm like, I feel like I ran a marathon today. Like I am so drained, but I want to do it again. But I just need that recharge time. Yeah, I totally feel that. Yeah.
So that is my answer to you. I think that is a good representation what I do. Yeah.
I love that. Now, Bruno, how do people reach you? Just quickly.
Oh yeah, sure, of course. Please reach out to it's Bruno Falcone, BrunoFalcone. I'm still Italian. Like this is the spelling is the problem. If you follow me, I read all of my messages. I'm there to really help you out. If you do have some genuine questions about styles, outfits, and stuff like that, I'm literally there and I will reply.
Style King, guys. Check out. He mixes match. Look what he's wearing today. Like, venlo.
Bellissimo, hai visto? Very Italian, very Italian. I have to
That's
do it.
it. Thank you so much again, Bruno, for your time. And we hope to have you on the podcast again soon and hope to follow your journey as it just blossoms even bigger and bigger.
Can't wait. Awesome. Thank you very much, Vanessa. You're the best.
Thank you. Bye.